And then the third piece of infrastructure, which is, I believe there are now 2 states in the country that have this, and that is a nonprofit caucus to the legislature. One of the challenges in Michigan is we have term limits. There are 22 states that have term limits, and as you know, it's a revolving door. No sooner do you think you've got an educator, legislator educated, familiar with how foundations work, then they're gone and you start over again. And it can be a challenge when one of your members calls up and informs you that, I just want you to know, Rob, my pool boy just got elected to the state house and he's 22. And I said, great, have you filled him in on the work of your foundation? Oh, never talked to them about philanthropy before, So part of the challenge is, how do we really help these new legislators learn fast about the nonprofit sector? And there are 2 things we did. One was we realized it had to be bipartisan, bicameral, and we needed to make it inclusive. And Michigan is a big state to cover. So the Nonprofit Caucus is actually co-chaired by 4 members of the Senate and 4 members of the House. So we have 8 leaders. Getting the 8 of them together is a challenge at times, but the good news is they have embraced the idea of supporting a nonprofit agenda. The agenda is shaped by them, it's their agenda, but CMF and M&A inform it. The key thing we did, and this is what I've told others that we learned in Michigan the hard way, and really term limits was the wake-up call, and that was we realized that these people have very short memories, they have very short time frames. They're only there 6 years in the state house. And so they come in, and if they don't have a good grounding quickly, and one that they can relate to, you're in trouble. So one of the first things we did, and we now do this every other year, was we did an economic analysis of the impact, of the nonprofit sector. This was the first time in my history in Michigan that we'd ever done this. And we now update it every year. And the neat thing is we were able to show these legislators that the nonprofit sector in Michigan employs 1 of every 10 Michiganders. And that was a big wake up. That was like, oh, we didn't know people worked for nonprofits. Yes, people work for nonprofits. We're not all volunteers. People work for nonprofits. And a lot of jobs, in fact, the largest employer in the state of Michigan is a nonprofit. So being able to tell the economic story was really critical and helped give us the credibility we needed in forming the Nonprofit Caucus and having it as an ongoing policy-making group for us with the legislature.